Official intro music for IlluviTalks. What's up, everybody? Andrew Wall here, host and executive producer at Illuvium, and welcome to IlluviTalks. This one is going to be excellent. Do you care about crypto gaming? Yes. Do you care about building an audience on the internet? Yes. Do you listen to music, and do you think that Web3 and NFTs could revolutionize the future of music? Maybe it could, maybe it couldn't. It doesn't matter, because you're going to find out the truth on this episode. Because I've got an expert panel of guests that are going to cover all these topics and more. It's going to be amazing. Crypto games marketing, music NFTs revolution, artists and creators in gaming coming together to create this new metaverse future. Is it overhyped or is it real? Let's find out in this episode. And really quick before we get into it, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Shoot, I barely have any money myself. Do your own research. Talk to your own advisor. For God's sakes, are you really watching a podcast like this thinking it's financial advice? Of course you're not, because you're a genius and you're following us. My first guest today is a dear friend of mine. He's got over 7 million followers on the internet. Celebrity, Billboard charting artist, investor, creator, entrepreneur, billionaire, trillionaire, quadrillionaire. Peter Holland's in the house. What's up, Peter?
Yeah, I don't know about all those things, but hi. Nice to be here with you, Andrew.
Peter and I have been working together for years, and for real though, he creates fantastic music content on YouTube and does have millions of followers doing that, and is an investor in this Web3 space, and I'm really excited to talk to you about the music NFT space. I appreciate you making the time.
Yeah, of course. Excited to be here.
And Enna, not Ina, Enna is in the house, director of digital for Illuvium, formerly head of gaming for one of the top crypto gaming marketing agencies in the world, going to bring her knowledge and secrets of crypto games marketing. Enna, how you doing?
Hey guys, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invite.
It is indeed. We've got some of the smartest people in NFTs, crypto gaming in this house. So let's dive straight into the topics. The first one we're going to talk about today is crypto games marketing. You have lots of experience marketing the top games out there in Web3. You can't even say what games you marketed, but they're household names, obviously, that everybody's heard of, but you're not allowed to say it, and I know. So I want to know from you, what is unique about marketing crypto games versus non-crypto games? Because we have a lot of streamers, a lot of creators, a lot of people trying to build a Discord, build a gaming studio, try to get a gaming audience out there. And what is truly unique about marketing here versus the legacy space?
Right. So just to kind of intro myself a little bit so it makes sense why I would have any opinion on this matter, I do come from the traditional gaming space. I worked on PC, console, and mobile releases, and then I decided to go into the Web3 space. I worked in a Web3 marketing agency, one of the best ones called Hype. They're really freaking awesome. I was their head of gaming department. I looked at some really awesome clients out there. Obviously, I can't disclose those, but after some time at Hype, I decided to move. I decided to move to obviously the best crypto game or Web3 game out there, which is Illuvium. And this is how I ended up working with you, Andrew. And yeah, this is why I can definitely attack this question. So, as you said, there is a huge difference just because there's such a big difference, I think, in the approach the companies are taking to not revolutionize gaming, but let's say make gaming more accessible to people, and make gaming something that can be long-term income solution for a lot of households, for people that are passionate about playing games. So what is so different in marketing these two things? In traditional, let's say in traditional gaming, whether it's mobile release or whether it's a PC release, we do rely a lot on what is going to be that first note that you're going to get out there. What is the press going to say? If the press, gives you shit, it's literally going to make or break you. You can invest 3 years, 4 years of money, knowledge, people's work in developing a game. And once it releases, you get really bad scores and you don't even cover your costs of making. So your return on investment is not even there, let alone profit. The difference in crypto games is, of course, you can literally just make a very cool project, get backed by some, serious investors out there, and have the community back you by investing early on in your project, in your token, investing in your NFTs. And then, of course, as you're building your game, I've seen something that I've truly liked. And the reason why I entered this whole space is that we're almost kind of democratizing the process of choosing what the players are going to get in the game when it releases, which is having all of these, let's say, councils, something that Illuvium encourages and does ourselves, where our actual community votes on the things we're going to develop and that we're going to focus on. And if they vote it through, it's going to get developed and it's going to get worked on. So the community is fully kept in the loop. The community is asked for their opinion. The community is important. We are so passionate about keeping our people happy, keeping our people interested in our product. Whereas that's not something that you're going to get in a traditional gaming space. You're just going to get a game, a big IP, for instance, that's going to release a game and you're going to have it and play it. And whether you like it or hate it, it's already there. And all that the developers can do at that stage is potentially release a DLC to fix a specific problem or to give you an additional feature. But Web3 is all about developing with the community in mind, working with them, communicating with them, listening to them. And I think that is the biggest difference out there that we're seeing right now.
What's interesting that you brought up a minute ago is, and I never really, obviously it's in place and we just assume it's in place. In legacy gaming, you said if the press, I guess mainstream media or large media avenues, IGN, GameSpot, whoever, gets a hold of your game and they don't like it, it's dead in the water. Whereas in Web3 gaming, that's not as much of a factor. So is this sort of the decentralization of attention, basically? Where attention is going to the creators, it's going to the influencers, it's going to the Discord servers, Telegram chats, Twitter, etc. And the influence of these major gaming media and press outlets has decreased? Is that one of the major differences here and one of the shifts that's happening?
Oh goodness, that's such a big question to attack at first, but I do have, so this is such a silly thing that I'm going to say right now, but here's a very silly example. I was looking at Paradox Interactive. So I used to work at Paradox at their mobile gaming branch in Paris, and I love that company, right? I love strategy gaming. I think it's awesome. Like, whatever. I looked at their Discord earlier and I found out they have like 50,000 people in their Discord. That community is substantial, but it can't compare to communities of 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 people. I think that the gaming traditional press, the big ones at least, do carry a ton of weight on whether your game is going to succeed once it hits the market. All of this press, all of these outlets do get their hands on game before anyone else. So they do have hands on game. There is a reason why all of these huge events exist. You have GDC, you have a ton of events where essentially press is going to go meet the developers and the publishers, get their hands on the game in advance, be able to prepare those reviews. And if a review is bad, it can kill your product and it can waste you a ton of money. Whereas we don't really get this because the crypto press actually wants to help the crypto project. So it's looking to get their hands on the game. It's looking to put the word out there and, let the people decide what they think by joining the Discord server, joining the Twitter. And another thing that is so important in the Web3 space is that if you, for instance, at least this is how I view our marketing department, if you join one of our social media channels, you will see that we share so much content. We share in-game. We let people get their hands in the private beta, on the private alpha. We share a ton of behind the scenes. So people get a voice. They can literally say, this looks like fucking shit. And we'll listen.
Is this breaking precedent in the gaming industry? Because, if we have gatekeepers in music are probably similar to what you were referring to, the gatekeepers within the music industry. But I'm assuming that the future is one in which us as creators, and we're all creators, have the ability to create content and put our time and energy behind the things that we want to see succeed. And if we have ownership over those things, well, then that kind of changes everything. Do you see that happening at a faster and faster rate? I think so. Obviously, the gaming group, yeah.
Within gaming, as every studio comes up and as every studio chooses to do a decentralized model, not necessarily a purely angel invested model that's backed by traditional investors and the community can invest in, then yeah, and it is accelerating. And with the success of Gen 1 games like Axie Infinity, a lot of studios popped up, learned lessons from that, and it's now accelerating. So yeah, I do see it accelerating. Really quick though, I want to understand what maybe good examples of games marketing are, and that can help us illustrate what is actually working in Web3 or what's different about Web3 games marketing versus legacy games marketing. We could start to tease out some of these details. And one of the examples that you shared, Peter, I had never heard of before, so help me understand this one. It was what, VBA? It was owning a basketball team, and you can like buy the team, and there's owning, you can build your dream team with these NFTs. Help me understand why projects like this on Solana are good examples of gaming projects in Web3.
Well, I'm a huge fan of simulation games, specifically basketball being my favorite. Just it goes back to like my early childhood. So I've been playing like PC games like this forever, and then being able to be at the, I don't know, I guess like alpha version of this game being created, and putting in feedback and ideating with the team that are all extraordinarily legitimate, whether it's Facebook, Airbnb. They got a very nice $6 million round when they raised, and I've had lovely conversations with the CEO. I mean, you get to have ownership and pick your team, and your NFTs that you have ownership of are your point guard, your shooting guard, your small forward. And I think at the most simplistic level, it goes to show you that if you're building with a game, and you get in early enough, then said ownership can provide fun times. And also, when you want to be done with the game, and if you've built something up that is valuable, you can have exit liquidity events, not financial advice. But it's just so much freaking fun, and it's so addictive. And then like within the games, you
Yeah.
have different ways to compete. I mean, it's like, I think from like an infrastructure standpoint of like what it means for me as like I'm not like a video game builder per se, but as a consumer of it, I mean, I spend a half an hour to an hour like playing that game a day, whether my wife knows it or not. That's what I'm doing on the couch, my laptop. Yeah, I'm working. Just gotta research this shooting guard here. I don't even remember your question. I just see that and I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's my like anxiety reliever.
It sounds like it was an aha an aha moment for you, that like a basketball game maybe harkens to or call back to your childhood, NBA Jam, old basketball games, etc. But now in Web3, you can actually own the cards, you can own the players, you can actually have it for yourself. And that kind of like ownership aspect, once you actually, it can connect with you in the genre that you care about, all of a sudden the Web3 tech becomes real. That happened to me with Gods Unchained in particular. I love strategy card games. And as soon as I owned them, I just felt like all of the thousands of dollars I had put into Hearthstone before that, where I didn't own any of the cards, were like, it was almost like a waste of time or a blur. And it's that aha moment. Let me ask you, Anna, what do you think are some of the strongest examples of great games marketing out there? You gave me a few examples you sent over, Aurori and a few Wilder
I mean, I
World,
can name them.
Decimated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can definitely name them. Yeah.
Yeah. So what are, can you talk about great examples of good games marketing out there and why you feel it's strong, and in particular, what are they doing right on the Web3 marketing side?
Right. So I'm following. I've got like a list. I sent you 15 projects that I'm genuinely following, and I'm checking up on what they're doing every week. Not just because this is my job and I have to stay relevant and in the loop, but because I genuinely think these are awesome. Aurori is, honestly, I think they're going to make it big. They are built on Solana. They have a big Twitter account. They have some interesting content out there. They're free to play, of course. They're a tactical turn-based game. I worked on a tactical turn-based game in the traditional gaming industry before. I quite like what their product is promising. For me, my favorite out of the whole list that I've sent you is going to be, of course, Illuvium. I mean, that doesn't even have any competition, right? But it also has Wilder World, which I think is just going to be killing it out there. If you haven't heard about Wilder, go check them out. Wilder has done some sick NFT drops. Like, I wish I caught one. One of those wheels, one of their sneakers, what were they called? Kicks, I think. These guys are building a real freaking metaverse. And I mean, I've met some people who work at Wilder, and I was so impressed by how deeply they are truly engaged in their product. These people that are behind it are almost living already in metaverse dimension, right? So you meet these people and you're saying, okay, this is the real shit. It's like when you meet Kieran and you see how passionate he is about Illuvium, he's kind of like almost giving you that passion. You're absorbing his energy and you want this to make it work. This is how the people from Wilder are about their product. Check it out if you haven't. They have some awesome content. This is probably one of the top-notch contents I've seen in terms of everything that they've produced. Their videos, look at their gameplay trailers. They're sick. I've seen that they've sold out all of their drops within like hours of the whitelist opening, whatever. And I've also seen, for instance, I like a project called Decimated. Decimated is an online survival game. So they're still in the works. I'm not sure. I don't think that they're going to release soon, but I think all of these projects that are being developed in the space are going to take a little bit more time to be released, just because if you want a really good quality game, it takes time to make it. Some other projects that I really genuinely like is Nifty Island. So Nifty Island was like one of my personal favorites, just because it's a fun, cute game. It's kind of like, it doesn't take up too much of your mind. It's almost a casual, right? Check it out if you haven't. It's like a city builder where you buy your own island, or I think you get it for free, and then you can get like decorate your own island completely freestyle. And whatever, you can really display your NFTs, make a gallery in your island, do whatever the hell you want to do. So it's going to be sort of like a nifty metaverse. So these are my favorites. I'm also following some other ones, and I'm following some that are still not announced, but are promising. And yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see who actually makes a really good product, because that's what it comes down to in the end, right?
Let's wrap this segment up with your top 3 pieces of advice to anybody who's wanting to build a gaming channel, stream, podcast, Discord server, studio. When you're marketing in Web3 gaming, what are the top 3 things that they should do? Anna, hit them with it, and then we'll move to our next segment.
Okay, I would say
pressure.
Focus on your
Go.
No pressure. Stuff free. I'd say focus on your community. Go check what your community wants. If you have a creator community, give them a chance to create, to earn from it early on, and reward your community. So that's my first advice. You seriously have to focus on what they want. You seriously have to focus on what they're asking you to develop. If you develop a shitty fucking game, your community is just going to turn your back around. There are so many games out there on the market. Listen to these people. They are your most important critics, right? So that's going to be number 1 advice. Number 2 advice, look after what you're posting out there, your content. Do make sure you share like behind the scenes content. I think that's very relevant right now, because people want to see what's in development. I've been seeing a ton of comments from our community that is seriously annoyed about us, saying it's coming soon, it's going to be here. And I do sympathize with you. I am myself annoyed because we've done it so much, but there's a reason behind us not giving dates. We are sharing everything that we're working on behind the scenes with you guys. We're trying to get more of you into our private beta for Arena. We're going to like announce all of the other private betas and alphas that are coming out pretty soon. I do think it's a very important piece of advice for all the projects out there to reveal as much content, but good quality content, to the community as soon as possible to get feedback, right? So, share what you're working on, right? And I would say probably the third piece of advice is be active. Like, make sure that you're active on Discord, people have access to you. Make sure that if you do have a Discord server, which is essentially the most important thing in gaming and Web3 gaming, is that people have access to the developer or in traditional gaming publisher. Do make sure that on your Discord server, you have competent people able to explain what your product is, how people can, for instance, invest in your token, how they can buy your NFTs, your land, and just make sure that people on your Discord are actually competent to talk about your product. They truly understand what you're selling and what you want to offer. So that's me out there.
focus on your. So basically, you're saying focus on your customer, the gamers.
Yes.
Actually
Always.
spend time and attention paying attention to them, listen to their feedback, and then give them what they want. As opposed to the
That's
legacy playbook, which is fuck the customer, maximize
Give them whatever I
profits,
want to give them. That's
toot
right.
toot, let's go. So it's a very different approach. I like that. Go ahead, Peter.
Oh, I just wanted to say, I'd almost say it's more important due to the fact that others within Web3 are doing it. Because I've run into some great projects that seem like they're working on great products, but because they aren't communicating and because that's what everyone else expects, because others within Web3 are, I think it hurts them even more because it makes it feel like they're going to get rugged or that something scary is going on. Because truthfully, like some of the companies that I'm advising in Web3, like, we've taken surveys about what people in this space have wanted, especially at the height of all the hysteria. And it's like 95% of everyone's goal at that point was to make money, right? And that creates obviously lots of chances for people to get taken advantage of. So everybody's always thinking they're going to get taken advantage of. And if you aren't over communicating to your community, and if you aren't fostering that like in a white glove approach, whether you are a creator or you are a brand, because a creator is a brand and you're building something, if you aren't doing that and putting time and energy and money into the moderators, you're going to be in trouble.
For sure.
Speaking of
100%.
taking advantage of things, here's something you should take advantage of, audience. Illuvium.buzzsprout.com. We have an audio version of this podcast that's uploaded to literally every audio platform in the universe. Be sure to check that out. We'll clean up this episode and you can listen to this on the go so that you can listen to Peter's beautiful, legendary a cappella voice. Got some Peter Hollins fans in the chat, by the way. I don't know. They like your content or whatever. Okay, let's get into the next topic, which is music. So I was doing a bunch of research on this, Peter, before this episode. All the top search results around music NFTs. It's going to change the world, Peter. It's going to change it all. I mean, seriously, these NFTs I've heard so much about, they're going to put Spotify out of business. Creators are going to make so much more money from this than they're making on Patreon and that they're making on YouTube. I mean, isn't it criminal how little Spotify pays people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what is the actual current state of affairs in the music NFT space? Are musicians just going to sell NFTs in the future and make it big? Is the small guy going to be able to go to the moon by selling like a limited collection of their songs or limited NFT drops or by licensing through the blockchain? What's really happening here? Is it overhyped? Or is this a real transformative technology that's going to change the music industry?
I'll probably answer one of those 10 questions.
What is your social security number, your credit card? No, what I really want to know is just your overview of what the current state of music, NFTs, and Web3 is, and what your general take is on it first.
Yeah. So again, I am just one professional musician, independent professional musician. I was a sucker and I did do a major record deal. I'm not going to say which one. I do believe that the future is one in which we will have ownership of our IP. I love the idea of that happening within a smart contract that lives and breathes within an NFT. I don't think that that's going to happen on like a pro-consumer basis until people just have no idea what they're touching and working with. So I think we are just at the beginning of building the infrastructure for this type of ownership to happen. In terms of big players like Spotify or others not paying creators enough, I mean, I think there is so much clickbait out there. I know that for the longest time, I was making tremendous amount of money quarter over quarter from platforms like Spotify, and they were playing well because I was playing the game of quantity over quality, which isn't what the record labels and all the people that try to focus on awards preach. I love the idea of us heading towards a time in which we have ownership and that you can put in the metadata directly into the NFT that says who wrote it, who's singing on it, who owns the master, who owns the publishing, and that each and every single time that's listened to on platform X or are getting packaged and repurposed as a collectible, an exclusive collectible that those people get paid for. But I think we are a long ways away. And as somebody who did spend a lot of money and energy with lawyers looking at regulatory and doing some risk analysis on what to do and how to do it, because I was really, truly putting in a lot of time and energy in 2021 into launching something in Web3 because I care about it so much and I love and believe in it. We're just not there yet. And I love all these companies that are trying to push, kind of push us forward, that we can rattle off here, Royal and Audius and OpenSea. Like, there's a lot of great things happening, but until the regulatory bodies provide any type of guidance, I feel like building companies on the backs of these things that they still see as securities, whether or not we want to admit to it on these antiquated rules based upon nothing that they even knew was coming. I just think it's too risky for somebody who already has an established career, just because I don't want to be the person that the SEC comes after and sues. If you're young, not financial advice, like I would play around in it if I didn't have a family and I didn't have employees and contractors to worry about. I love the future. I don't think the future is going to come in a box that tells you that's an NFT. I think it's just going to be something that works, and something that works in a way that does take away the black box syndrome of the music industry, where we have the big players that are basically just siphoning and what I would say is stealing from the little men and the independents. I do think it's something that's getting figured out, and I'm really excited about the different content ID mechanisms that are out there. And I think it's going to get fixed a little bit in Web 2.5, Web 2.0 prior to Web 3 really kind of grabbing hold of it. But I feel like as soon as we do get the guidance, praise, hopefully, then I think a lot of amazing companies will be actually built on the backs of it, and quickly. And truthfully, the Spotify, the Amazons of the world will immediately start playing in it, because they'll be like, oh, Business Affairs is going to let us try to do this now, and this can make us money for our shareholders. Because if they aren't going to get sued and it makes them more money, for damn sure they're going to move. They're not going to move as fast as people that don't have to worry about that. But anyway, I don't know exactly what you want to talk to me about specifically on a nuance level.
I wanted to know your general state of affairs. So it sounds like you see that this technology could impact the music industry, and it could be something that's a part of the future.
Super excited about it.
There are major regulatory hurdles in the meantime for anyone that's, touting their platform as an investment in music. And if you're selling an investment in your own music, maybe that could have regulatory issues. So let me ask you this.
I think so.
Go ahead. You think so?
And how much do I love the idea of somebody having the ability to find Peter Hollins at the beginning of my career and be able to support me, but also get, win financially when I win. I love that. I think that would be a beautiful thing that could happen in the future. Given the SEC passes guidance to allow that to happen. And I think that could happen lovely in a Web3 world. But we're just not completely there yet. And until I feel like that guidance comes, then we're just kind of on the precipice being like, yes, this could be so great. So somebody try it and get sued, or just tell us we can do it. I mean, I don't know how long we're going to wait there. So especially during a downturn.
Got it. Yeah. So do you think any of these platforms like Audius or what have you could, end up putting Spotify out of business, maybe being the next Spotify? Like for example, and this is a parallel to crypto gaming. I'll pull up the example on the screen right now. Why just listen to Spotify, everybody, when you can earn tokens by listening to music, as you can see right here, earn crypto by listening? Is the whole listen and earn thing as shallow as play and earn was in gaming? You know what I mean? Is this repeating the same cycle? Anna, I'd be curious to know your thoughts. I feel like both of these spaces, music and gaming, are following the same path, where the Gen 1 players think just by throwing crypto tokens at people, they're going to get in here and stay. But it turns out that doesn't get people to stay in gaming. So why would it get people to stay in music as well? So be curious to know what your thoughts on that are, guys. Open floor.
Oh goodness, I'll take this one just really shortly. To me, this is kind of so you have another interesting product that I've seen, that I installed the app ages ago on my phone, and it keeps sending me push notifications. Sweatcoin. It's another thing, you
got
keep
it on my
earning
phone
these
too.
tokens.
Yep.
There you go. So the only question I have about all of these different apps that do generate token is what is the utility of that token going to be in the long term? Are we going to get some cool stuff to use that token for if we can't actually sell it, if it's something that's so easily earned that everyone's going to do it? So that's something that I think is so relevant. We need to always stick to utility with every single product, whether it's music, gaming, sweatcoin sweating, or whatever the hell it is. What is the utility for the user? Is the utility for the user in a game to go have fun? Freaking, we are building 3 interoperable games. So is the utility for the user going to be to go use their land in Illuvium 0, generate fuel, take it to overworld, catch Illuvials, take those, battle in the arena, have totally fun, go up on the leaderboard, just be fucking badass out there. And then in long term, if they want to stop playing at some point, to actually sell it, earn some money from for putting all of this hard work and time into actually doing the whole process to get those Illuvials up to a level where they can sell them for more money? Or is the utility going to be something like Sweatcoin, like you earn some token that in long term still doesn't really have true value? So to me, that's like, it's like a chicken and the egg question. You just have to figure out what the utility for any product is before actually launch the product. And that's why Web 2 streaming services, in my opinion at least, are still the most relevant ones, because there is nothing in the background driving the users to use it. They're just using it because they need to listen to music, or they need to watch a movie, or they need to. But if we find cool utility to tell people you're going to earn this token if you listen to music, and you can sell it, or you can do something cool with it, then why wouldn't users switch, So I think in long term they might switch, but the Web3 industry definitely needs to work on utility for the product.
Listen and earn. Peter, do you think this is a thing? Like, do you think every activity we're doing in the future, we could earn crypto doing it? You know what I mean? Like, is this like a thing businesses are going to do to get us to watch movies, to listen to music, to play games, to buy insurance, to eat lunch, like whatever? Do you think listen and earn for music is going to work?
I think for a younger demographic, I think it might. I do personally think it's a fad. If I want to use an inferior product with inferior resources, and if we're specifically referring to a platform, and if I don't have access to the music I like, if we're talking specifically within that vertical, just in order for me to make a few extra dollars or Chuck E. Cheese coin X, do I think that's going to work? Maybe in the short term, with like a certain narrative that seems just manufactured. I don't think in the long term. I think there's a lot of wiggle room and nuance that could be created where if you have 2 equally valuable products, one that is giving back to its users and one that is not, I think that's a no-brainer to go towards the platform that is rewarding its consumers and hopefully its creators of said product. I believe my thesis currently for the creator the creator economy, the creative economy, is one in which the cap tables and equity belongs to, at least in a large part, also to the creators that are basically creating those companies. And I feel like Web3 allows that to happen, but it needs to happen within a way where it's not really necessarily telling people that it's happening, because there's just so much negative talk about it. So anyway, I may be getting ADHD, but yeah, that's what I think.
Got it. So in conclusion, so to all the musicians that look up to you out there, and they're looking at Peter Hollins, are like, maybe one day I can be as cool as him. Is it worth the squeeze for them to try to approach these platforms, Audius, Relics, Royal, etc., and really put a lot of energy into those platforms today? Or should musicians stick with the Web 2 or legacy platforms like the Spotify's, YouTube's, TikToks, and what have you, and try to monetize? And Patreon obviously has been great for musicians, and stick to those kind of more tried and true methods of monetizing through Web 2 means. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it all comes down to where you are in your career and the return on investment. If you can become a big fish in an extraordinarily small pond within a short amount of time, then I think sometimes that is worth doing in order to start something, because you've got to start that snowball at the top of the mountain. You have to kind of have awareness as to like how much time and energy you're putting in But like, if you're a musician and you create your product, which is your music, and you basically create cover art, it doesn't take too much additional energy to distribute it everywhere within Web 2. You just need a distributor like SoundDrop or DistroKid, or there's many others out there. Or, logging onto these platforms, if it isn't too cumbersome, and I've tried it a few times, and it hasn't been too difficult, but it was difficult enough that I was like, I don't know, I'm not going to do it. But I got really to the precipice of actually like logging it out there. If you're new, it's worth investigating. I think anything that's new is worth investigating because it allows you to have the chance to become the gorilla in the room. And I think if you can become the gorilla in a room, even if the room is small, that's something to build off of.
I like that. I like to use the 80-20 rule. Spend 80% of your time on the tried and true Web 2 stuff, and maybe 20% of your time experimenting in Web 3. And if you see something that's a hit, go all in, right? So not financial advice. Not financial advice. We're going to give our guests a break here and give a moment for our sponsor to show this video. Our sponsor this week, guys, is Illuvium. Check this one out. We'll be right back.
Surprise.
Big thank you to Illuvium for sponsoring this episode. Wow, they've just been here for us since the beginning of the show through episode number 12. What an incredible sponsor. Go to illuvium.io/illuvitars. Build an Illuvitar today. Give Enna your email so that she can digitally market to you. She's smiling right now. She's like, yes, give me your email. And we will digitally market to you to get you to go buy Illuvitars, not financial advice. Perfect. All right, so for our last section of this podcast, this is the truly interesting bit. I think that whether we're looking at the music space, we're looking at the streamer space, we're looking at artists, Web3, blockchain, crypto, whatever words we want to use here, seems to be transforming anything that humans can create and adding a new layer of engagement, of ownership, of the ability to transfer something, to have sovereignty over it, to make revenue from it over time. It appears to be transforming maybe every creative venture. So what I want to talk about here is, with artists and creators and crypto gaming, how should artists and creators be approaching gaming as we move deeper into the 2020s? I want to bring this up with you, Enna, as a marketer who's going to decide how you spend your money, how you market games. How should artists and creators be thinking about maybe latching on with a game studio here in the 2020s as things evolve and Web3 starts taking a greater portion of the pie? How should that mindset change for those gaming creators and artists out there?
Right. Cool question. So, I can actually, I love talking about all of the different aspects of community engagement in the Web3, and this is definitely one of them. We have so many creators. In my opinion, under creators, you have people who are really good at developing 3D models, doing concept art, maybe even doing animation, doing sound effects, VFX, doing music, doing blogs, doing content writing. These are all creators. So in my opinion, there's so much in the space that you can contribute to. The space is offering the whole Web3 space, especially gaming projects are developing ambassador programs, very serious ambassador programs to encourage the creator economy. The guilds often encourage the creator economy because essentially what they can do is almost like pimp out creators to the projects, right? If they spot someone really cool, they can even get them a job at a very nice project. And another thing that is currently the hot topic is creator programs. So I think all of these things are in the works. You also have people who are not essentially influencers, let's not call them influencers, but do want to be creating content for the games. I've had a couple of people reach out to me in DMs on our own Discord saying, hey, look, I have access to your private beta. I want to create content. And I was like, cool, create the content. Here's a drive, upload it. I'll vet your content. And then once the content is added, we might be able to post it on our socials, tag you, and promote you. So that's another thing. If you have big projects out there, essentially reposting your content and, talking about you, I think it's something that's kind of like a mutual relationship. Like it's a two-way street. You give us content and you talk about us, and we're going to make sure that down the line you might make some money out of this. You might enter our ambassador program, you might enter our creator program. Illuvium is working on one, so that's going to be something that's going to go live at some point. So definitely, stick around, see what's happening. Other projects already have these live, so down the line you'll definitely be able to make some money of this, and not just money, just seriously, you'll be able maybe to get a couple of thousand followers, get that following started, which is also very important because you can make money off streaming services and whatnot.
That makes sense. I'm going to share a couple of my thoughts on this, and then I've got a big question for you, Peter, right after this. So in my experience, almost all of the gaming content creators I've worked with to help them go full-time from like 0 to full-time, I'd say about 80% of the time, they ended up doing what Peter said earlier, being a big fish in a little pond or a big gorilla in an insert analogy here. They got in early on an upcoming trend before it got big. They got in on GTA 5 before it came out. Maybe they started covering it years before. They got in on a niche indie game, and then that indie game ended up blowing up. They ended up making list videos, top 10s on mobile games before mobile games ended up becoming big, and then they took off, et cetera, et cetera. I think we have a similar opportunity here with Web3, crypto, blockchain gaming, where if creators get in now, they basically stake their territory, get their niche, get their audience today in this space. As this space kind of hockey sticks up in terms of interest, the creators that kind of risk their time and their energy today in the early 2020s will end up seeing the rewards for that as we move toward the later 2020s. It was the exact same case in the 2010s when it came to game streaming and it came to YouTubing at all. This time last decade, being a gaming content creator full-time was a joke. Like I had just started a startup at that time, and there was only like a couple thousand people doing it at all in the world, even trying to make gaming content. But then look at what happened toward the end of the decade. So the earlier you are on an upcoming trend that you think may go hockey stick up, is the way to be successful more times than not. If you wait until later, until Illuvium is huge, Star Atlas is huge, or one of these games we're talking about are huge, and then you try to take a bite out of that pie, you're going to be a small fish in a big pond, and you're no longer going to have an advantage. This is the way it is in marketing. This is the way it is with any business space and business venture, and I think it'll be the same case here in Web3. So here's the question for you, Peter Hollins. I've seen your videos on the YouTube. Here they are. You are an a cappella musician guy. So why are you doing video game stuff on your channel? Halo theme, Ultimate Video Game theme, Skyrim theme, World of Warcraft, League of Legends? How are you doing all this gaming content when you're a musician? So the question that I have for you is, how should non-gaming creators and artists approach gaming? Because clearly you've taken advantage of it and you've made very successful content in gaming, even though you're not even a gaming creator. Can you share some insights there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first and foremost, my own story aligns with this thesis that I'm about to give. Literally the moment I was able to go from part-time to full-time as a musician coincided with me doing a cover of Skyrim, the Skyrim theme, which I'm sure is a little game you guys have probably heard of, with a lovely violinist by the name of Lindsay Sterling. What gaming allows you to do is it
I'm a
gives
fanboy,
you,
by the way.
me too. Working with Lindsay's been a trip. She's an amazing human. Gaming allows you a piece of IP that has an incredible long tail And so first and foremost, if you time it right, if you like Andrew was just saying, if you can get to the punch first, not only can you reap the rewards of being one of the first to do a piece of content about a certain IP that's about to blow up, but then that IP, whether or not it's something that is epic and will live on for another decade, like Skyrim and Unreal and League of Legends, you just like I would say, like, those pieces of IP are similar to me doing a cover of a Disney song. Like, Disney is going to be listened to and looked up for decades and decades. And if you can align yourself and your niche content to those pieces of IP, you will be found by people who are fans of that IP. And then hopefully you can provide your nuanced, intelligent, amazing content that you're creating that makes you be the gorilla in that tiny little niche within the confines of that IP. And I think being anything at the intersection of video games and anything, allows you the opportunity to have a 10x to be found, because you're out in the forest making something and no one knows who the hell you are the first time you upload something, and you can send it to your mom and your grandma.
You make content in the forest?
I do. I yelled and screamed and pounded my chest until I got the first couple people to watch, but then
that's how you get your first subs.
I mean, there's a lot of ways to do it. I can take them from 0 to 1 with my course. But anyway, I digress. The video game aspect is a really good decision when you're early on, when you're reverse engineering your first pieces of content. You're like, oh my God, I love these 10 creators. I want to do something like that. Well, then you take something that they did, hopefully within the confines of like a Disney or a video game, and you recreate it and you see how it did, and you see how you can basically succeed by joining in on what people love. Yeah, is that what you're barking up the tree at?
That's it. I just wanted people to know, from somebody who has leveraged Disney's intellectual property. We did a Frozen versus Frozen 2 video together or whatever, to video games. What's that?
Oh, I just said if Copa didn't happen, that entire concept would have blew the barn door.
I know. We crushed it. That video got like 5 million views. Anyway, so the point is, 10. Oh, sorry. It was only 10 million views we got. So the point of that is, though, you as an a cappella style YouTuber, basically, you recognize that people care about these gaming properties, and that you can latch your creative style as an artist onto these gaming properties and create something new and transformative with them. So I just wanted you to share that with everybody, because a lot of people think, oh, I got to be a streamer. I got to be in my bedroom, like sweating it out, becoming an esports player to make gaming content that's relevant. Well, in your case, that's not what happened at all. And you got even more traction with your gaming content than most gaming creators would ever get, by being the big fish in a small pond within this a cappella space within gaming. And I think that's really cool. So here's one that I want to bring up with both of you. I've been in so many pitch meetings and like platform decks and what have you, talking about how the world is going to be gamified in the future. Everything's going to be gamified. Getting a taxi, gamification. Doing your banking, gamification. Social media, gamification. This is an open question for all of you. Does it make sense to gamify everything? Should artists and creators and everybody out there be counting on, like, should they gamify their content? Is gamification the future, or is this kind of overblown that gaming is going to kind of take over everything? I've listened to so many Twitter spaces where people are like, everything's going to become a game in the future. Do you feel like that's true? Open floor for both of you to share your opinion there.
God, I'm so glad I didn't use that word. I mean, I didn't use it once, and I do love that word. I'll just throw a quick opinion in here, but before that, if I can just say a little special hi to all of our hardworking mods on Discord. We're so grateful to have you, just because I was talking to some of them this week, and I just thought it would be a nice opportunity to say hello and thank you for your hard work. You're doing a really, really good job, and we appreciate it. So now that that's out of the way, gamification. I do believe that we're going to have certain aspects of our lives gamified. We already do. It would be silly to say no. I think it's so gamified. Using social media is like gamifying your whole life experience. You're like,
Hmm.
whatever, you're snapping shit to people, you're posting everything you do on TikTok, you post stories on Instagram, you're gamifying out your whole day, right? You're making it look like it's like an experience. Every single time people visit your Instagram, they experience your lifestyle. And it is a gamification of what we really do live. I don't believe that everything should be gamified, though. I think that some things definitely need to be taken seriously. The entertainment industry is there to give us an opportunity to relax, and not everything should be, let's say, made a joke, or made a fun experience. Some things like banking, or so, I mean, some things definitely do need to be taken more seriously. And then you go and you reach out, whatever, you enter a gaming community, you watch a movie, you want to relax, you want to have a gamified experience, which is, for example, going and entering a challenge, a competition online. That's great, but I don't think that every single thing in our life should go much more on socials than it already is. But that's a very personal point of view.
Yeah, well, I'll give you a half a point. But Peter, can you beat Anna right now in this? I'm just gamifying this. But Peter, what do you think? Do you think everything should be gamified? Do you agree with that perspective? Do you think?
I
do you think everything will become gamified in the future? Is it going to be like Ready Player One over here, where you go to work and you got to scoop up coins into your digital car, and everything's an effing video game, even getting life insurance? What are your thoughts on these hyperboles we hear?
I mean, I think it's easy to follow your train of thought and say, no, of course not. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to necessarily have the opportunity to choose. I think it's being chosen for us. I think subconsciously we are choosing gamification over not. The addiction and the most brilliant minds in the world in tech are utilizing our attention and our like basic animalistic instincts to gamify everything, and even in my own niche content, and it's not like I have an incredible amount of views, but significant tens of millions of views that I'm looking at month after month. And when I start gamifying my content and creating additional little tweaks that allow me to manipulate said viewers' attention, it does provide me signal back that is valuable in terms of more signal, so more subscribers, additional average viewer duration. So within the confines of like we're on this hamster wheel and there's really no way to get off, I'm going to say, if I wanted what's best for humanity, I sure as hell hope not. If I'm guessing on like a gambler's bet what's going to happen, yeah, it's happening and there's no way to get out of it. And you can, as a human, you can just say, you know what, I'm buying a flip phone. It doesn't have electronics. I'm not taking my phone in the bedroom. I'm not going to take it on walks. I'm not going to take it into the shower. I mean, people are turning into cyborgs.
That's such an exaggeration.
God, the flip phone thing, man.
But
my brother-in-law is like that. He's like, he
Okay.
proudly has like an iPhone 1, and he's like, this thing barely fucking works, and I'm glad. And like, I'm so pissed they make me update my iPhone, and it's like, I don't know, man. Like, you can go live off the land somewhere and go choose to be off the grid, but come on.
I will fight you to the death that you are more addicted to your devices than you know. And until you try to take it away, you don't truly understand. And I think similarly, we are more addicted to like sugar than we are to cocaine and meth. And like, that's been proven in rats. I think similarly, our attention is being grabbed and we are addicted to this. And I think the attention
I am
aspect
not addicted. I am not
gamification-
addicted to technology at all. So you,
I
know,
no
man,
idea.
you're totally right. If you try to take any of this away from me, I like collapse into like a puddle of emotional strife. You're totally
Anyway,
right,
that's
man.
my
We are
thesis.
totally
That's my
addicted to
thesis.
our tech. 100%. So let's do the final question here of the episode to wrap things up. This is the big question. Big brain. Okay. So, oh yeah, and to your point about phones and the tech we have, like anytime I lose my phone, I have much more anxiety than if I lose my wallet or my keys. I could do without my wallet or my keys, but my phone, I do everything on there. So to your point, absolutely. Here's the last one. Everybody talks about Ready Player One, guys. Great movie, great book. Books. The second one's good too. Will art, music, video, gaming, all of the creative ventures out there that humanity does, will it all kind of become one experience all together in this metaverse that we're all looking forward to? Will it all just
I
become
love
one
that
thing?
movie. I love that
Good.
movie so much. I mean, I loved it the second I've seen it so many times. I mean, I don't want to sound like a total geek, but I really liked it. But I don't think it's gonna be achievable. We're so many different people from so many different culture, different nationalities. It's what makes us beautiful, our differences, right? How accustomed we are to tech, how willing we are to accustom to the new, whatever new ways, and that's why Web3 is taking time to become more global. So I don't believe we'll get to that extent of Ready Player One, but we will definitely get to the extent where the younger generation, like my little sister who's 10 years old, who's already on TikTok all the time, will definitely get to the extent where that generation has a metaverse personality, and it's a totally different personality than they are in real life. But I never think we're gonna get to that extent, even though I love that movie. So that's my opinion on this one.
Never. Those are strong words. Never going to get to the extent of Ready Player One. Wow. Do you agree or disagree with that, Peter? Do you think it's possible at some point in the future that we have a fully immersive digital experience like Ready Player One, and artists are there, musicians are there, creators are there, streamers are there? We're just all doing literally everything inside of the Oasis.
I mean, I think anything and everything that we can imagine eventually could come to life if given, the capitalistic integrity of our current world order continues on, and if it makes somebody money, it will be made and it will be created within the confines of like our current definitions that we have. I think multiple different metaverses are going to be created. I think Mr. Mark Zuckerberg is going to He's gonna die trying to create his little Disneyland metaverse, to the chagrin of his shareholders. I think we're gonna end up in a place that allows any number of things to occur, and I think it's kind of hard to say it's what is and is not possible. I love the idea of something being able to be created so that people who can't escape life in any other capacity can have that as an escape, because there's a lot of places in life that we don't want to be in our real world, and a lot of pain that can be taken away by giving that type of an environment to a lot of people, and I love that idea. But in terms of like it all being totally inclusive, that I love that idea. We currently are having to raise our children. I have a 4 and 8 year old as a digital. They're going to have the digital identity and a physical identity. So going off of what you said, I totally wholeheartedly agree. And I'm going to have to parent my child and his digital self in a different way altogether than his physical self. And I think it's infinitely more challenging to grow up in this world and to parent in this world than it was in the past. I mean, that's a different topic, but one in which is fascinating to think about.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts there. We're coming toward the end of the episode. My opinion on this matter, AI will meld with it, full immersion. We're going all the way. We're going way past Ready Player One long term. That's a couple thousand years out. All right. Anna, you didn't give me a link that you wanted to plug for the episode. I know you work for Illuvium. Is there anywhere people can follow you, LinkedIn or somewhere, that they can follow you or follow your work that you'd like people to pay attention to?
Sure. I'm very active on LinkedIn, so that's the only place where I'm not private. My full name is Anna, ENA, Berbic, BRBIC. You can definitely check that out. In terms of my Twitter, I, of course, have a Twitter account. I follow everything that's going on. I do like to keep it quite private. I also have all of the social media. I am a digital director. I have to stay in the loop, but I do have to keep them quite private because I post private content. So LinkedIn is a good place to reach out if you want to do that. And I would love to get back to each and every one of you. Yeah.
Peter Hollins, I heard you have some internet stuff. What internet stuff should people go look at?
Oh, if you like music, lots of dorky, eclectic stuff, you can find me all over the TikToks, Instagrams, YouTubes. making some of that stuff. It's just my name, Peter Hollins. If you would like to hire me for brains and advising and consulting as a company, you can do that by, I don't know, messaging me on the link of the inn.
There you go, LinkedIn. This guy does consulting. You can get this genius on a consulting capacity. He's hired me before, so
I have.
I actually
And now
think about
I
that.
can hire others. Meta.
I'm the big brain that he hired. Now people hire him because of.
I see how it is.
Yeah. See how?
Yeah, you
see
can
how
hire
that
him,
worked?
but you should hire me. I see. Nice. Stop.
All right, we'll stop
Yeah,
bickering
yeah.
with each other in front of everyone else. Thank you for joining me, guys. I really appreciate it. And we will be back with yet another episode of IlluviTalks next week. Same channels and Illuvium Showcase. I'll end this episode with a little bit of that juicy Illuvium soundtrack to play you on your way out. Appreciate your attention. I guarantee you learned at least 2 new things in this episode. Keep learning, keep growing, and we'll see you in the next one. Adios.